The crab invading the Mediterranean Sea. Almost 1,000 alien or non-native species have been listed in Mediterranean waters. Some of these pests are becoming a surprising source of opportunity. In October 2014, Lotfi Ladaoui was traveling the shallow sandy waters near Eganouchi, a small coastal town in the Gabes Gulf in Tunisia, with a group of local fishermen traversing the beds of sea grass and algae. The fishermen made an unusual catch. Tangled in their net was a species of crab, Portunus pelagicus, or blue crab, that wasn't native to the region. More remarkable still was that the fishermen didn't find just one blue crab. Their nets had captured 24 of them. Ladaoui, at the time researcher at the Faculty of Science of Tunis at the University of Tunis El Mana, noted the discovery with interest. Little did he know, however, that a year later, this non-native or alien species would become a national curse. Soon after, the bull crab population exploded. Hakim Griba, a fisherman on the island of Dolba, remembers it as if it were yesterday. It was panic stations, says Griba. The crab represented almost 70% of my fishing catches, and I did not know what to do with it. The bull crabs were prolific, reproducing up to 4 times a year, with litters of 100,000 per female. This crustacean is very aggressive, says Griba. It destroys nets and leaves fishermen and other fish. The terror the crabs caused was such that they became known locally as Daesh, the Arabic acronym for the group calling itself Islamic State. At first, the fisherfolk's livelihoods were overturned. We were clueless, says Fatih Nalofi, a fishing engineer and the head of the interprofessional group of fishery products in Jalgis, a public organization responsible for promoting fisheries and aquaculture in Tunisia. Even disposing of the crab by catch became a challenge. They remained piled up in the port while they were thrown back into the sea, says Nalofi. The bull crab has upended Tunisia's fishing industry in more ways than one, but after the initial shock, it has now become one of the region's most sought-after seafoods. The bull crab originates in Indo-Pacific waters and reached the Mediterranean Sea in 1898, around a decade after the Suez Canal opened. Since then, the crustacean has been recorded in various areas in the Mediterranean, from the Levantine Basin up through Sicily, spreading according to environmental conditions, its migration capacity, and shipping activities. As for many invasive species, the proliferation of the blue crab has intensified with the warming of surface waters due to climate change and with the increase of maritime traffic, says Jamila Ben Soisi, a researcher on biodiversity and climate change in the Mediterranean and member of the Mediterranean Science Commission. Indeed, the blue crab is far from alone in making the journey to the Mediterranean. The rabbit fish, the Siganus rivulatus and Siganus luridus, is another particularly successful new entrant. These fish devour the vegetation that provides habitat to native species, decreasing native vegetation cover, mostly canopy algae, by as much as 65% in Greece and Turkey. Given that rabbitfish are a tropical species, generally confined to warm waters, we think that their expansion is linked to ocean warming, says Adriana Borges, a researcher on the ecological impacts of climate change at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, and an author of the Greek and the Turkish survey. In our study, we found that large populations of rabbitfish are confined to the warmer eastern parts of the Mediterranean. Another new entrant to the Mediterranean is of even greater concern, sometimes considered the single most damaging invasive species known to science, the lionfish, Pterois miles. Pterois miles is a highly aggressive fish, sporting fierce venomous spines, well established in southern and eastern areas of the Mediterranean Sea. It is now heading west and north towards the Aegean and Ionian Seas. The lionfish is large quantities of small native fish and crustaceans, and its stomach can extend up to 30 times its original volume to accommodate them. Experiences from other parts of the world show how much damage it can do. In the Bahamas, it was responsible for a 65% reduction in its prey biomass in just 2 years. In the French West Indies, the cost of this invasion is estimated at more than 10 million euros a year through damage to the fishing and tourism industries. A recent stomach contents analysis in Mediterranean lionfish revealed that 95% of their prey were ecologically and economically significant native fish. Overall, the Mediterranean Sea is the most invaded in the world, with 986 alien species listed by WWF in 2021, of which 10% are categorized as invasive, meaning they are likely to cause economic or environmental harm. In recent decades, there has been an explosion in the numbers of alien species establishing themselves across the basin, with catastrophic consequences for native biodiversity. Interaction with the new arrivals is completely disrupting stable ecosystems write the authors of the WWF report. The connectivity of the Mediterranean to other oceans is part of the challenge. Most of these invasive species come from the Red Sea or Indian Ocean and reach the Mediterranean via the Suez Canal. The Mediterranean is changing very quickly, says the Mediterranean Science Commission's Ben Sowisi. The bull crab larvae require an optimal rearing condition under a constant water temperature at salty sea. Temperatures in the Mediterranean are going up 20% faster than the global average, with sea level rise expected to exceed 1 meter by 2100. Rising temperatures mean that arrivals from warmer oceans can survive in increasingly large areas of the Mediterranean, where just a few decades ago the waters would have been too cold for them, where native species are already under pressure from intensive fishing. Invasive species can expand all the more readily. Invaders become assets. The Mediterranean is changing, and our only solution is to adapt, says Ben Sowisi. Climate change means it will likely be impossible to stop the continued spread of destructive invaders across the Mediterranean. But in a region where so much depends on healthy ecosystems, there is an urgent need to act. Today, as the bull crab is a dominant species in the Tunisian south, this invasive predator has become a valuable asset, and fisher folk have learned to live with it in their threats. In the last 4 years, with the help of public subsidies, they have created an entire value chain out of the new arrivals. They've figured out how to process and package the crabs in more than 30 factories and market it for export worldwide. At first, the bull crab market did not exist in Tunisia, says Samia Lamin, the coordinator for the Coastal Resilience Project in the port of Azim at Darba Island, funded by the United Nations Special Climate Change Fund and the UNDP. People were afraid of it, but it didn't take long for local people to adjust while waiting for the government to react and launch a national strategy. We organized to enable fishermen to sell their hulls to nearby factories, says Nalofi of Tunisia's interprofessional group of fishery products. Fisher folk, the UNDP, and the Tunisian government agencies launched programs to train fishermen to harvest bull crab. We had to invent new ways of fishing, starting with the traps, says Lamin. After trying several designs, the fishermen of Azim settled on a traditional cylindrical trap with a great number of entrances to accommodate the crab. A few blocks away from the port of Azim, a new crab processing plant, Bana Pesca, opened towards the end of 2021. We understood that there was a real need from the emerging bull crab market in Tunisia, says Mourad Ben Ayed, the manager. For now, the domestic market doesn't have much of a taste for the crab. Everything we pack here is sent abroad. For the moment, our best customers are Koreans. In 2021, exports of Tunisian blue crab reached 7,600 tons, worth 75.6 million dinars, $24 million, twice as much as in 2020, according to the judges in the professional grouping of fishery products. The Asian market is the top customer of Tunisian blue crab, but the crabs are also sought after in Italy, Spain, the United States, and the Persian Gulf countries. Meanwhile, in Cyprus, reported as the first EU state affected by invasive species that have traveled the Suez Canal, there are similar projects to deal with the surge in lionfish over the past decade. 1. The Lion Mad Life project, launched in 2017, aims to make Cyprus the first line of defense against the invasion of these species in the Mediterranean by exploring and creating its local commercial uses. Local restaurants have started incorporating the lionfish on their menus, while its soft and colorful fins are also used to create jewelry and other artwork, providing an income for fishermen, divers, restaurants, jewelry shops, and the local tourism industry. The ragfish, meanwhile, has become quite an important commercial fish in several regions in the Mediterranean, where they are very popular and highly prized, says Borges of University of New South Wales. It takes a concerted effort, quick thinking, and adaptability to turn an invasive species into an opportunity. But in some Mediterranean communities, it seems to be working. We have observed a notable decrease in their numbers. This is also compounded by the fishermen, says Marouane Bioui, a researcher at the Tunisian National Institute of Marine Science and Technology. According to his research, the average blue crab catch tripled in 2020 compared with 2018. We have mobilized in an effort of resilience and adaptation. It is now necessary that this becomes sustainable, he says. To do so, he believes fishing should remain artisanal to protect small-scale fishermen, the most vulnerable to climate change. In the long term, it remains to be seen whether the new industries spring up to make use of invasive species will be enough to rebalance ecosystems and improve biodiversity. With climate change and extensive shipping, the native ecosystems of the Mediterranean are under pressure from many different sides, but in the short term, such projects are a lifeline to the local fishing communities. Today, the blue crab is our primary source of income, says Hakim Griba, the fisherman at Darba in island Tunisia. We want it to stay.